Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be disassembling this Koenig Arius that you will have recently seen the unboxing of. I just wanted to take this apart for the heck of it and figured I might as well film it. So here we go. Get the pivot out, and this disassembly will apply. Most frame locks are going to have a pretty similar disassembly process. And the Koenig Arius in particular is quite easy to take apart, as all these screws are the same size head. They're all T8, which is a great decision on Koenig's part. And then these things always they fit together really nicely, so they slot back in, slot back together real well. All right, I have all the body screws now. I'm just taking the blade and just twisting it a little bit. Got the back spacer off. There we go. And now get the pivot off. There it is. All right. And inside of this, we're looking at caged ceramic ball bearings, I believe. I'm sure they're ceramic. And they're in a Delrin cage, as I remember. Come on, get off there. This blade is not wanting to come off the pivot. That's weird. It's very strange. I wonder if there's a little bit of Loctite on there. Yeah, that's what it feels like. I've got rubbing alcohol and one of these little cloth cleaning patches. I'm gonna get some alcohol on there, because I think there's a little bit of Loctite that's stuck onto the top of the pivot, although I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. All right, here we go. It's coming. And almost got it. There it is. All right, so here we go. We got the pivot out. Got the other washer. There we go. And it's all disassembled. Pretty minimal amount of parts. It's pretty easy to take apart, get in there and clean and everything, which is nice. Just gonna hit everything with some rubbing alcohol, get it cleaned up. And clean off the pivot. I'm gonna get a Q-tip. Splashing rubbing alcohol everywhere. Get everything nice and squeaky clean. Get that blade pivot. All right, we're looking good. Now we put it back together. That's pretty much the whole process. It's quite easy. They make it easy with Koenigs. I'm gonna give the alcohol just a second to dry. Okay, we have our lubricants. We're going with KPL. We got heavy right here. First, we're going to put the pivot in, and then drop a washer in. This is the regular KPL. Just a few little dabs, 2 little dabs. Don't need a lot of this. If you get too much on, you'll start attracting dust and stuff like that. Stuff we don't want. All right, before we go any farther, I'm going to take the heavy and put just a drop onto the detent ball and a little bit right here along the path, just like that. And then we're gonna take our regular KPL and put a drop there and a drop there where the bearings are gonna go. Drop those bearings on, give them a spin to distribute some of that oil. And now I can pop my lock side on. There we go. And back spacer popped in, and it's all popped together. Boom, that went super easy. All right, here we go. So that's stuck together pretty well right now. It's wanting to come apart a little bit, but it's staying at the pivot, so that's fine. We have our pivot screw. Gonna grab our tube of Loctite and just hit that with a little bit of Loctite, just like that. Not sure if you're gonna be able to tell super well, but it's just got a layer of Loctite, very thin layer on maybe a third of the threads. And we're just gonna start that threading in. We're gonna get to about right here. And now disengage the lock. This is important. You don't want to torque down the pivot while the lock is engaged, because it's easy for the lock to get misaligned while the knife is loose and it's spread apart, and then you torquing down the pivot could cause things to bind or get jacked up weird. Now we've got the pivot in place, we're just going to drop our body screws in and get those tightened up. I'm not using Loctite on these because you can tighten them all the way down, and with this kind of screw quality, they're not going to come loose too easily. I'm not worried about them. All right, let's see. No play. Drop shut. I think it could be a little bit tighter. Just a tiny turn. Let's see, check centering. Seems right on the money. It could be slightly looser. I didn't need to tighten it. Boom. And no play. Yeah. And that's where we should be. All right. There's your fully disassembled and fully assembled Koenig Arius. I hope you enjoyed. If you have one of these too and you were nervous about breaking it down at all, it is super easy. It's absolutely no problem. This was a super quick process, and I was going kind of slow for the camera. So if you got any questions, drop them down below, and hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll catch you on the next one.